Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the ice, brought to you by Doak Spoke Fuels, Case Financial Group, Toby Hockey, and of course our friends at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Tonight's guest, we've given a lot of love to the other team over the course of the year in the Superior International Junior Hockey League. Tonight's guest is going to be giving the love to the other team, the Thunder Bay Northstars Junior A program. Head coach Rob DeGagne is joining me. He's not only the head coach of the Junior A program, but he also is a huge proponent to a member of the executive group at the Thunder Bay Kings AAA hockey program in Thunder Bay. Rob is going to talk to us today about the ebbs and flows of Junior A hockey, how great it is to have hockey back in the Thunder Bay, Northwestern Ontario area after the couple of years of craziness we've all experienced. And more importantly, how do Junior A teams create less of an ebb and more of a flow when it comes to their off-season proponents and components to retool for the upcoming season? So on the ice, please welcome Mr. Rob DeGagne of the Thunder Bay Junior A Northstars. As we welcome Rob DeGagne in from On the Ice. Thank you, Rob, for taking some time this evening. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Theo. How are yourself?
Fabulous. You look like a fisherman. Do you fish a lot?
You know what? I like fishing, but I'm not very good at it. So I do like fishing. I do fish a little bit, but not tons.
So what does Rob do now that the season is over, besides worrying about next year? What does Rob do to recharge his battery as a coach?
Oh, well, I love to golf, so I do golf quite a bit in the summertime. I run my own business, so I'm an insurance broker. I own my own insurance brokerage, so I don't do this as a full-time job. So I tend to get back and try to make some money, the money that I lost over the wintertime coaching hockey. So I'm in the insurance business. But truthfully, there's not a lot of time off. We're recruiting for next year all the time, and you want to make yourself as competitive as you can. So it takes lots of times. If everybody thinks the season's over, it's over, but it's a 12-month process.
It has become a 12-month process for you and your coaching staff. It'll be upcoming your 7th year as the head coach of the Junior A program in Thunder Bay, but you aren't a newbie to the hockey scene in Thunder Bay. You're quite famous. You've been on many different boards, working with the Kings AAA program as well. Would devotion be the right word you would call coaching?
Well, if you ask my wife, maybe it's a little bit of craziness, but probably devotion. Yeah, I love giving back the game. It's been great for me, and it's been great to me. I met a lot of good people through hockey. Most of my friends are because of hockey. So yeah, I try to give back as much as I can, and well, I'm 57 years old. I'm still coaching, and when is enough is enough. But I don't do it for the money. I do it for the love of the game and for the kids, and so that's why I do it.
Before we talk about the Junior A program, let's quickly mention the Kings AAA program and how beneficial it has been this year, seeing the teams take their talent to the GTHL. How important is that decision for the area, for these teams, but also how great is it to show off the talent that Thunder Bay has in the ages and the minor midgets and midget years?
We've been blessed. We're a great hockey community. It's supported so greatly by our businesses, by through sponsorships and so on and so forth. It's really a program that has evolved over the years. I've been in it for a long time. I coached in Bantam, must be 10 years ago now, when we used to play in the Manitoba midget hockey league and Bantam hockey leagues back then. Then it changed. We played in, our focus went more to the States. We played in the North American Prospect Hockey League. And I coached that team, the midgets, major midgets. And then just recently, now we play in the GTHL, which is, it's been a fantastic year for our kids, for our program. I mean, I don't think there's too many other midget programs across Canada where you can get on a plane on a Friday morning, a charter plane, that same as the Leafs would take or the Habs would take, or and come back on a Sunday night in a charter plane. So our kids are lucky; they're fortunate. I mean, it's not, it's not inexpensive, but at the same time, living in the north, as we know, it's a little bit more costly to do things. But what an opportunity they have. The Kings program has been fabulous. They've been able to graduate, whether it's the Stalls and Matt Murray's and the Piats and the Fantis just signed with goaltender, just signed with Edmonton Oilers, played in at UMD. Just so many. You could go on and on and on. There's so many great players that have played National Hockey League, American Hockey League, Europe, NCAA, CIAU, so major junior hockey. So we've been very fortunate. We've got a great program. We've got a great board, and the kids are fortunate that they got a forward-thinking board that puts them in a position to be seen and hopefully move their careers forward.
They're moving the careers forward. Last week we had two gentlemen who were drafted in the OHL priority draft, Nicholas Holomego and Carter George, goaltender. What does that do for you as a coach now, looking at these players, the U16, the U18 programs, the Kings, and being that next step up in their progression as the Junior A program in the SI? The Northstars have been there since 2000. So it's been they've been there since its inception of the SI. How does that relate or translate to that next landing spot for these players? Should they, look for that opportunity to play Junior A hockey and still be at home?
Yeah, it is a great natural progression for them. Some years you take kids, and some years you don't take kids, depending on the crop. And some of the kids that are drafted out here make the Ontario Hockey League right away. Some of them don't, and then they have a choice. So they could play midget again, or they could play junior again, depending on what they feel is best for them and what their their junior teams or major junior teams think are best for them. So we've had some success getting younger guys out of here. I guess we have Nicholas Campbell, Keegan Gary drafted by London, Michael Stubbs drafted by Mississauga, Matthew Halishak drafted by the Sioux, Dougie Newhouse drafted by the Sioux. So we've had a lot of kids that have been drafted. They come and play for us for a year, possibly two, depending on their game, and then they move on. And some of them move back to the Ontario Hockey League. Some of them choose to go different paths. They'll go to the USHL or to the NAHL, ECHL, wherever their path takes them. But lots of times, they're not quite ready to make the Ontario Hockey League, so it's a good alternative for them to choose our league. Now, you only take so many of them because of their age and junior hockey is a different animal. So we don't normally take too many of them, maybe one or two of them, and they move forward from there. But it's a great natural progression for them, because a lot of times their junior teams want them to play junior hockey and play with men, and to get them more prepared for the Ontario Hockey League.
You mentioned it's a different animal, Junior A hockey. It certainly is. When you have men playing with boys, 16-year-olds playing with almost 21-year-olds, it can get a little bit different in maturity. Your team this year, definitely all the other teams really faced a great amount of adversity. But first and foremost, how important was it to have hockey back in Thunder Bay, and also with the new rivalry across the bridge kind of thing?
Right. I mean, it's important to get hockey back right across Canada. But I mean, I hopefully I'm speaking the same as everybody else. It's important because, as a guy that's 57 years old, it's just another year. But when you're 16 years old, it's the end of your life. That's the feeling kids have, right? And they lose a year of development. In some cases, more than a year of development, a year and a half, 2 years of development. So we could see that a little bit I think this year in some of the kids we had that, a lot of them really never got to finish much of midget hockey, and then they go right into junior hockey, and so it's really important for their growth, both as a player physically and as a person socially, that we're creatures that need other people. So you need to be with people, and I think it's really important that um, we're back in a environment where kids want to learn, they want to excel, they want to move on, and I think that 2 years was too long, and so it's great to be back. With the rivalry across town, I mean, it's great. We had up to 2,500, 2,600 people in our building the last game we played against them in the playoffs. They did a great job marketing their program. They had a good, really very good team this year. So it's good for us. It makes us better, have to be better. I mean, in the past, we used to just get the kids, right, and now we don't just get the kids. We have to work at it, and we'll get our share, and they'll get their share, and it will move on. But it's a good rivalry, and it's a good sports needs rivalries, whether it's the Leafs and Habs, or the Cowboys and the Redskins, or whoever. We need rivalries, and it's good for us. It's good for them. It's good for the community. It makes more people come out to the games because it's that much more fun. And whether you root for us or you root for them, it really doesn't matter. You're rooting for kids and for hockey in general. So I think it's really good.
That's excellently well put, Rob, because it is about the players, it is about competition, it is about the love of the game. And whether you're donning the orange jersey or the nostalgic North Stars jersey, which I love, I mean, the green, the Kelly green, and the bright, banana yellow. I mean, that's a jersey that you just don't look at once and be like, oh, that's a jersey. That's in the top 5 all-time jerseys.
Yeah, it's a great jersey. Yeah,
it is,
and the kids love it too. I mean, the kids really like the jerseys. Like I was never a Minnesota North Star fan, but I mean, it's such a classic jersey, So the kids love it.
Do you guys have a third jersey as well? Do you use the blue, the green, the yellow? Do you have a dark one as well?
We have a black one. Yeah, it's a third jersey. So we changed our logo a few years ago. It was more looked more like the Dallas Stars jersey, but then we went back to the old original. Everybody seemed to like it more, and we brought us back more to our identity. Where you change. Maybe sometimes you think it's for the better, but people still like the nostalgia and the look of the other the North Star, traditional North Star jersey. So yeah, well, I don't think we're going to move from that now.
What would have been the identity of this team, Rob, in 21-22? I mean, it was a 21-16 3-1 record, a 4th place in the regular season. Obviously, 2 teams, the Red Lake Miners and Cam River, had tremendous regular seasons as well. What would be the couple of words you could use to explain the identity of your team this year?
Well, I think the identity of our team was our passion and our work ethic. I mean, we were pretty well in every game, whether it was regular season or playoff. I think it was one game during the playoffs we didn't have a very good game, but for the most part, it's our work ethic, our never die sort of attitude. We had a younger team, sort of a rebuild for us a little bit. But honestly, this year, I probably had more fun this year in our last 10 games than I've ever had as a coach. I think we got a lot out of the kids and the talent that we had. Our kids, they were good kids. They were, or I shouldn't say kids or young men. They were good young men, quality guys. We played hard. We got all, they nobody complained. It was just they wanted to be there. They put their best foot forward, and a few bounces here or there. The series against the Walleye team really would have been a lot closer. It could have changed the whole thing. But I had so much fun the last 10 games. I think that's one of the reasons that, I'm sticking around longer, because they were just a really great group of guys to coach.
You have a really great coaching staff. Not only coaching staff, but support staff with, the general managers being a set of brothers. What was it like is that a brother or a cousin that you're coaching with as an assistant coach, Robbie?
Okay, well, Robbie's my son.
Oh, your son. Okay, so he's a junior.
My son. So yeah, Robbie Jr. And then yeah, it's as a parent, I mean, it's sort of a dream to be able to coach with your son. So he's a great young man, and the kids love him. He's at the right age. Sometimes you need a mixture of older guys and younger guys, and I think we have that. Mark Backer, he played pro hockey in Europe. His dad actually was a Stanley Cup champion for the Leafs.
Back then, 67, right? Back then, way back.
Well, I don't know if it was 67. I think it was even before that. Yeah, it was even before that. But his dad, Pete Backer, played for the Leafs. And then Mike Ebnick, our goalie coach, he's great. Been around for a long time. And then Donnie Doswald, trainer. I mean, probably the most integral part of a team is your trainer. I mean, they know everything that's going on, and they deal with a lot of the issues that we don't see sometimes. That broke up with your girlfriend, or we were out late the night before, or whatever the case may be. So they deal with a lot of that. And then in the Callaways, Callaway's actually the owners of the team. The general manager is Scott Callaway and Chris Callaway. They're father and son as well.
Right.
So it's interesting because Scott and I played minor hockey together. We're same age. And then Chris and my son Robbie, they played minor hockey together. So it's sort of, that's sort of the connection there. So we got a great group. They basically let us, do what we want, and we've always been able to have some success. I've mellowed over the years, I guess you could say, as a coach. You evolve like anything else, but we've had a lot of success, so we're proud of that.
Absolutely. Rob, let's take a quick break. We're going to talk about the plans for this offseason and what's upcoming in Fort William at the arena there Monday and Tuesday. Stay with us here on the ice. We'll be right back. Back on the ice with Rob DeGagne, the head coach of the Thunder Bay Northstars Junior A program. Rob, we quickly touched on the coaching staff and the importance of talking with the players. How important is it to maintain the lines of communication within the coaching staff, but also to make sure the players stay accountable to their actions and what they need to get done on and off the ice so that they are performing at their peak?
Yeah, things have changed over the years. I remember playing in the Ontario Hockey League, and I played for Bert Templeton. I'm not sure if you know that name, but I played in North Bay for 4 years for Bert Templeton. In those days, the coach asks you to do something, you do it. If he wants you to go through a wall, you go through the wall. You don't ask why, you just go through the wall. And now, as hockey's evolved and everything's evolved, the players are smart. If you ask them to do something, they ask you why. So, it's important to have that collaboration with your team and your coaches. But at the same time, they still like structure. They still need structure, and there's still accountability that they have to live with. So we teach it in more like, say, a university program rather than, say, a high school or program, in the sense that you get what you put into it. So if you're not putting it into it, then I'm not going to yell and scream and go crazy at you. Like, you know why maybe you're not playing, or you didn't see a shift, or you didn't see a power play, or whatever the case may be. But we'll have that conversation with them and say, this is why. And so, we do treat it that way. Now, there's obviously some things that are not negotiable. Our on training, our yoga, our film sessions, and so on and so forth. But we do have some flexibility because we do have a lot of kids who go to university. Our team's got, we probably had 4 or 5 kids this year that went to university. So, we have to have some flexibility in there so that these kids can go. And so there's sometimes they'll miss practice or even miss a game because they got an exam or they got a paper they got to write or. We even had somebody, Tommy Young. He was in third year geology this year, second year geology, and God, he probably missed 7 or 8 games because his program was so hard. And so we told him, like, Tom, like, this is more important. Your geology. You're going to be a geologist. Make sure you take the time you need to be successful at that. And maybe the team suffered a little bit because of it, but we're not. It's not all about winning. It's about making sure that these kids can go on to, great jobs and be great citizens, So, I mean, we want these kids to be the best people they can be. So sometimes we have to, there's a little bit of give and take in there. So, we're not, it's not like the old days where, everybody's, iron fist. It's, we're not like that. We work with the kids, we collaborate with the kids. We expect them to have a good time and enjoy their junior experience. And when it's time to play, it's time to play. So, and we've had a lot of success that way. So,
I've asked this question, Rob, a couple of times to other coaches, not just with the SI, but all over Canada, really. Coming out of this 2 years of crazy, how deterred were players and how many players looked at this as an opportunity to seek other things besides hockey and playing hockey competitively? And did we see a drop in the talent or a drop in participation, do you think, this year?
I don't know if we saw it drop so much in the talent. I mean, I think the talent came back by the end of the year. Like, I think the talent finds its way back again. They may have been a little bit step behind at the beginning, but by the end, everybody got back to where they should be, because an athlete will push another athlete, and if the competition is good, they'll play. They got to get better, or they fall behind. So they do get better, and that's just the way it is. Now, was there a drop off? I think there was a lot less kids, but in saying that, I mean, so for an example, before the trade deadline, everybody's trying to, improve their team. So normally there's lots of kids available, but this year there wasn't lots of kids available. There's 2 things. I think, number one, I think COVID, kids found other things to do, went to college, university earlier, did that type of thing where the parents sometimes would say, well, just play hockey for a year or 2, and then go, give it a shot and then go back to university or college, where with the 2 years up, they said, well, it's time to go to university. You're trying to go to get some education. And I think the second thing was the Hockey Canada changed this year. So normally we're allowed to keep 23 players. This year we're allowed to keep 25 players. So for the programs, it was good because really most programs are pay to play, right? So if you had 2 extra players in your team, say they're paying $5,000, it's $10,000 for your program. But not only that, those are 2 kids on, say, 100 and, we'll use 150 junior teams across Canada. And that's not counting junior B2. So we're just junior A teams. So that's 300 kids that normally may be available for junior teams that weren't available this year because they're already on a team. So I think that had something to do with it as well. So I don't know if the numbers might be down. I mean, somebody in Hockey Canada or junior hockey, Canadian Junior Hockey League would know that. But I think a lot of it had to do with Hockey Canada letting us carry 25 guys instead of 23. Now, I like that, but I mean, who knows if they're going to keep that or not? I don't know. We're not sure yet.
Absolutely. No, looking forward to the season ahead, Rob. I mean, playoffs didn't end the way we wanted to. Obviously, it was a direct birth to the Centennial Cup, which we'll get to a question to a little later. But what are the plans for you and your coaching staff? Obviously, it starts this upcoming week on the 30th and 31st in May. Plus, you're going to get some more development camps later on throughout the summer. Give us some of the timeline to players looking to not only get invited or looking to perhaps get involved with the Junior A North Star program? What do they have to do, and what's going on for the summer?
Yeah, so we have a camp on Monday and Tuesday nights. It's by invite only. We don't charge to come to these camps. It's not a moneymaker for us. We're not interested in that. We're just interested in getting kids out that want to play with our program. A lot of kids are from here. Most of the kids are from our community and around the area in northwestern Ontario. Because it's been a big drawing card for us in the past. So we'll look at this as an opportunity to look at these kids, invite them to our main camp. If someone is good enough and we ask them to sign, hopefully they'll sign. If not, that's hockey. But so it's a good opportunity for these kids to come out. We're going to have a lot of the kids are coming back from our team last year here as well. So we get roughly 45 kids. So that'll be a really good showcase for them, and they'll get an idea of what junior hockey is all about. And then from there, we'll invite a lot of those kids back to our main camp in August, late August, early September. And that time, we'll also have other kids from other areas of Canada that we'll seek over the summertime and invite them to our camp, and then we'll have a small camp, probably 30-35 guys at that time, and then make a team up of that. So we have a lot of returning guys because we had a younger team, so we're lucky in that sense. We should have a good nucleus and good core of guys coming back.
The 01s aging out, what do you need to find in the new recruits to make sure that those holes aren't as big at the beginning of the year, knowing that you have this large group coming back as well?
Well, you always graduate, some good quality players at 20 years old. So, you're always saying, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" But you always find somebody else, and someone from your core group from the year before comes back and takes the position of somebody else. There's a few kids, like a kid like Hunter Forshoe. He worked so hard, and he was a great leader. So it's hard to replace Hunter. There's only one Hunter, but someone step up and have a different quality, and hopefully you have that leadership skill or that we're looking for. We had good presence on defense with Kyler Balouse, so he was great for us. Lou Vesperini, a good leader for us, and we had great goaltender in Jordan Smith. So obviously we're going to be looking for some leadership, good stable defenseman, and a goaltender. Those are things that we really have to go with. We're looking for, and you know what, we're all looking for the same guy. The guy that can skate, can shoot, he's big, he's strong, he can fight, he's got he can do everything. But do they exist?
Right.
If they're that good, maybe they're not playing at our level, right? So we're all looking for the perfect player. So but it's our job to develop these kids too. So you may take somebody that has lots of potential, and you build into something that we're looking for.
I noticed.
So that's basically.
Yeah, you mentioned the three big names I had on my list: Forshoe, Vesperini, and Smith. Top defensive forward awarded to Mr. Hunter Forshoe. He also had the most points on the team by quite a bit margin. Not the biggest guy. He was only listed at 5'7". Was he really only 5'7"? Or is that with skates on?
No, I'd say he's a bit bigger now. He's probably 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". But he was strong, like very strong. Great skater, very strong, a tireless worker. In fact, he probably worked too hard because, it probably stifled him offensively some ways because, he was just gripping that stick hard because he just worked so hard. But just a character young man on and off the ice, and he's going to have a lot of success whatever he does. He's just that kind of kid.
He also had a mountain of a man from Winnipeg. The lone Winnipegger on the roster was 6'5", 265.
Yeah. I would say he's probably closer to 300 pounds.
Was he like that's incredible size and stature for a gentleman on D.
He's a man. Yeah, he's a man. I mean, he's a lineman in the NFL. He's huge, right? And he can move. He's big and strong, and he can move. And he had some great shot. Excuse me, lots of skill. he was very good. So he'll be back. He's got lots to work on. He's a big man, so he I guess you have to sort of learn what you can do and what you can't do. So and because of his size and doesn't get around the ice maybe as quick as somebody else would. You have to learn your position. So, but he's a great kid on and off the ice, and just hopefully he'll be back and better than ever. So
we look forward to seeing the new team, or the next team, the 22-23 team, competing for not only the Solana but the Dudley potentially will be coming back next year. We don't know what's happening with the Centennial. Your thoughts on the format for the Centennial this year, and would you like it to stay so that we have champions from all across Canada competing for a national championship in junior A hockey?
I think I mean I like the format. I've been to some Dudleys, right? So I guess in the 6 years I've done this, we've only had two Dudleys because 2 were canceled, and then the this year's been the Centennial, right? So we went to 2 Dudleys. It was great, but again, we don't get to represent ourselves on a national format. It's junior hockey's funny. I mean, Red Lake didn't have a great game against, Brooks. They lost, it was 11-6 or whatever the score was, right? But then Brooks goes and beats Toronto 9-1. So, I mean, it's a funny game, right? And what you need to get hot for a week with some good goaltending and get into that playoff round, and anything can happen, right? But I think it's good for our league especially to recruit kids, because we have an avenue to the Dudley. And if Hockey Canada wants to promote the game, they got to look at different ways to get more kids involved in this as well, right? And have a level playing field for everybody. It's just naturally harder for us to recruit because of where we are. We're in the middle of Canada and remote communities, and it's our league sometimes doesn't get the love that we should. I mean, it's a great league. It's a good alternative for kids. It's not the Ontario Hockey League. It's probably not the BCHL, but if we can, but not every team in Alberta is Brooks. So it's I'd like to see it stay for 3, 4, 5 years, to at least to give it a go and see how it works. Just to have it 1 year and go back to the other one, that probably is not a real fair
Doesn't
assessment
give it an
of how it's going to work.
Exactly.
No, you can't assess it. It's not I don't think it's 1 year's not enough of a window there. So I would say that if you did it for 4 or 5 years and it's just not working, then you could bring it back to where it was. But for us, it's then it makes it more important to win your league. So.
Yeah. You did mention a very cliche response saying you got to get hot at the right time. You need hot goaltending to playoffs, that kind of thing. And current playoffs in the NHL, who are you rooting for still, Rob? I mean,
well, I'm a Hab fan, so
okay.
This year hasn't been a great year for us. But it just proves last year. You get great goaltending, good defense, and timely goals. I mean, you can do anything, right? I hope Edmonton does well, because I love the way that they play, and they're so exciting to watch. And it's a Canadian team. Now, will they beat Colorado, or they got to beat Calgary first? But will they beat Colorado? I don't know. Colorado's awful good. I think they sort of match up the same. They're both high flying. It'll sure be exciting if they do play each other. So I hope Edmonton wins, but I don't know. I think Colorado's pretty strong.
We've seen, probably back in my day, back in your day, Rob, a little bit, you saw the battle between Lemieux and Gretzky, and then you saw the battle between Crosby and Ovechkin. And how important is it to see a playoff battle between McKinnon and McDavid? Because we haven't had that yet, because that could be the future for the next decade.
Yeah, I think it's really important. It's amazing. I always say this to the young guys, when somebody like McKinnon's or McDavid or Crosby or whoever it is on the ice, and they just dominate. They dominate, right? So they take over a game. And when they can take over a game, it just shows how much better they really are, because let's face it, as a coach, what's the first thing you're saying to your team? Okay, well, we're going to put so-and-so on McDavid, and if he beats so-and-so, make sure that the next guy's on it. So it's not, we're worried about, and Nugent Hopkins is a great player, but they don't say, well, we got to watch Nugent Hopkins. No, we got to make sure that, we're on McDavid and Draisaitl and McKinnon and these guys, and you don't give them time and space, but they still get it anyway, right? So they're getting checked twice as hard as the normal player is, and they're still doing what they're doing. So it just shows how much gap there is between that high end guy and, say, the next level guy. They are that good, and they're fun to watch, boy, I'll tell you. And it's good for hockey, whether you're in Canada or the States. It's just really, it's an exciting time to watch these guys, and they can move.
I'm going to keep on Edmonton for just one more second. Rob, you're coaching the Oilers, and your GM says to you, we just signed Evander Kane. Not knowing what he's done this playoff year, what would be the first thought going through your head if you had a player like that come on your roster?
Well, the guy's, you can't deny the guy's got talent. He's always had great talent. He's a great hockey player. He's a big, strong guy. It's exactly what everybody wants. It's just, you want the personality to go along with it, right? He's had that rap against him a little bit. But, like Gretzky, like Lemieux, like Crosby, they make the guys beside them better. And they're making Evander Kane look like he is unbelievable. I know Ken Holland. I went golfing with Ken Holland. I've known him fairly well, and he's a smart hockey man. And he's had that luxury when he was with the Red Wings. I mean, he's had, he finds the Datsuks and the guys to play with him. He never had all kinds of pretty guys playing with him, and they just seem to get it done. With Detroit in those days, they've had a lot of blue collar working guys, and they got it done. So it just shows that these guys make everybody around them better, and that's what the superstar does. They just make everybody so much better.
I think that's what makes there's great players, but great players aren't superstars unless they make the players around them that much better. I couldn't agree with you more, Rob.
Right.
Before I let you go, I'd like to give the last part of the show to my guest and have them say thank you and appreciate all the work and time and effort. To those in the community, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to and thank for their efforts in and around Thunder Bay with the North Stars, with the Kings? The floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, there's probably so many people, that we should be thanking, but it's the Kings organization. I think Mike Powers has done a great job. He's brought some stability to the board. He's brought national championships, the TELUS Cup, and next year we have the All-Ontario Pee Wee Championships here. He's not afraid to dive in there and get things done. Currently, I think that our commissioner, our leagues, all over Canada, but I'll say the SIJHL, some like Darren Nicholas, they've had hard jobs in the last few years because they're just putting fires out everywhere, whether it's making new schedules every second week and fielding calls from irate coaches and guys like me that they've done a great job. So kudos to someone like Darren. To all the owners who really have stuck with the programs, and they have to have been digging into their pockets a little bit the last few years because they've really had nothing coming in and still have expenses going out, some of them. So whether it's a community-based team or whether it's a team like ours that's owned by someone like Scott Calloway, those guys deserve a lot of credit. They give a lot of money to junior hockey, and without these guys, it just wouldn't happen. And then probably my wife is putting up with all these times at the rink where whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning or weekends or 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I give all these wives a lot of credit for letting us still have a passion and do the things we like to do, and because they sacrifice lots of time away from us, and we sacrifice our time away from them. So those ladies deserve a lot of credit too.
Do you have a rule at the house where you and Robbie don't discuss hockey at the dinner table when you have dinner together? Is there
No,
is there a break
no,
from it? Because I could see some heat happening.
yeah, we don't talk a ton of hockey, our own hockey. Like we'll get excited about the Habs, or we love football. We love NFL football. We're all Cowboy fans, so we love the Cowboys. So we talk about that. We like golf. We talk that. But we have I have another son, Mark. He coaches actually in the Kings program, and we talk maybe a little more sports than Robbie and I do. But yeah, we don't talk a lot of sports as much as you would think. It probably would get shut down pretty fast. So we tend to talk about other things, and we like to laugh and joke and have a good time.
Good. So does Robbie handle the D aspect of it, or do you handle the D, or how does that work behind the bench?
He handles more of the forwards. Mark Backer does the defense, and I sort of oversee everything in power play. And if I don't like a certain situation, I'll tell them. But you know what? I've been blessed because the people around me have made me better. I don't have a monopoly on good ideas. So I listen as much as I can, and I take as much in. I always learn something, whether it's from my own coaching staff or from, the podcast, or from you, or from, other coaches in our league. You always learn something and try to make yourself better. So I always say I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I seem to be able to motivate young men to go and play. So that's sort of my strength.
And certainly, Rob, the years, and I'll say decades, because it's not just been a short little trip right now.
No, for sure.
You've done a tremendous job behind the bench at all levels, and I think there's tremendous amount of players, parents, and community members that would thank you for your time and effort that you've put in to this great sport. And Rob, I really appreciate the time you've spent with me to sit down candidly and just talk Thunder Bay hockey, because it's
Yeah.
I loved, I always kid around saying I always go to, remember the airliner hotel back in the day when I used to go to the local ski hill, and that was my trip to Thunder Bay. And now I have even more reason to visit next season, because there's not just one little team. There's been a great team there since its inception of the SI to come watch and play. And I don't know what jersey I'll wear. I'll probably just wear black. How about that?
There you go. Well, you're always welcome and anytime. And yeah, it's a great community. Thunder Bay is an awesome place. I mean, everybody has a choice of where they go, but everybody seems to want to leave. But a lot of people come back. It's a great standard of living, and we have the seasons. We have beautiful summers. We have great winters, and we have a lot of things for our young guys to do, our young kids, and whether it's girls or boys, we have great sports. And so it's I'm very fortunate to have been involved in it for a long time and coach a lot of great young people.
Rob, I thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. Make sure you're prepared for next week. It's going to come
We
fast
will.
and furious.
Thanks
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Theo.
And that was Rob DeGagne, head coach of the Northstars Jr of Thunder Bay. I'd like to thank our sponsors again, Dokes Book, Fields Case Financial Group, TB Hockey, and our friends at Pilot Mountain, bringing more goodness to the greatness here on ASTV. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. We'll be back on the following Tuesday. And, of course, the end of the Centennial Cup is near, and we should have some information on the WHL East Division as the Ice and the Oil Kings are still squaring away. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. Be good to each other. Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.